Hey everyone, it's Charlene. Today I'm going to show you how to make this gorgeous card using some of the new products from the Heartfelt Harvest release from Honeybee Stamps. So we're going to dive right in. I'm starting out here with the Autumn Delight background stencils. There are 6 stencils here and they create a gorgeous background. We're going to do something a little different and we're going to stencil on pattern paper. So I'm using the Pinstripes and Polka Dots Harvest paper pack. This is a 6" by 8.5" paper pack and I'm choosing this really beautiful light pinky peach color. I love this paper pack because it's full of really nice fall tones, and I also like how large the sheets are because you can use it to make any size of card that you would like. Using my stencils, I am going to color in those layers of the Autumn Delight stencils. I'm going to use 5 of the 6 stencils and I'm going to do each one in a different shade of pink. Some of them are going to be more of a peachy pink and some of them are going to be a more true pink. I used Saltwater Taffy, Tattered Rose, Worn Lipstick, Picked Raspberry, and Kitsch Flamingo. All of these colors work really well together. And you can see once I have each layer on there, it's all going to work really well together because all these pinks are going to play off each other and complement each other. And it just creates a really nice background. So here's the reveal. You can see now what I was talking about. Next up, we're going to use the Lovely Layers Dianthus. This is a great set. It's got all these beautiful layers. I'm going to cut everything out of white cardstock, and then I'm going to come in with a few of the same colors that I was using before, but I'm only going to go around the edges on these die cut pieces. So I'm starting out here with the Saltwater Taffy. I took it all the way around the largest piece, and then I'm coming in and I'm coloring the leaves here and there, and then I'm going to go over the top of all of the florals with Tattered Rose. The reason is I'm going to come in with a different color here and I'm going to go around the edges now of all of those floral pieces. I'm using Picked Raspberry for this. So we're going to get that really nice base color on the florals, but then we'll have these really bright, vibrant pink edges because of the Picked Raspberry. I'm leaving everything as is now because I still want there to be some white showing through on the florals so that way they pop when we put them on top of that pink background. So I've cut out 2 extra of the large floral piece. This is what everything gets glued to. And I'm gluing all 3 pieces together. This is just to give it some stability and to create some dimension on the front of the card when we glue everything down. So you just put your glue on there, layer them on top of each other, and then you pinch around the edges just to make sure that everything is really well lined up. Now there's a couple of different ways you can put together your florals. I like to start with the smallest piece and go to the largest piece. Some people prefer to do the largest to the smallest, and sometimes I do it that way as well. There's no right or wrong way to do this. There is a great graphic though that shows you how everything is supposed to layer together, and that is really helpful. So I'm going to put the glue onto each piece and then I'm just going to place it on top of the next largest piece. And it's actually really easy to figure out how these all layer up together because they only fit one way on top of the next layer, which makes it so much easier to put this style of layered die cut together. So I'm dotting my liquid glue on the back of each of these pieces. You don't have to dot your glue. It's just kind of a preference of mine. I tend to dot things because then I kind of know that there's glue everywhere that it needs to be. But then once I have added the piece down onto the next largest piece, I kind of just make sure it's lined up with my fingers by going around the edges, and then I press down. So now I have my first floral all put together here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of push on the center and pull the edges up with my fingers. And this is going to allow it to look like the blooms are curled up just slightly, and it's going to give a little bit more dimension to our final finished product. You could layer these also with foam squares in between, or you could even cut out duplicates of the floral pieces and layer them up, and that's going to give you even more dimension on the floral. I did the same thing for my other two flowers, and now I can glue them all to that base piece. Really easy to see which one is which. So I'm just putting some glue towards the back center of those flowers because I don't want that dimension we just added where the edges curve up. I don't want that to get flattened back down. So I'm just gluing the centers there so that they can still sort of rise up from the sides and look really pretty. So I did this all in shades of pink and kind of peachy pinks because I was going for this very pretty kind of muted fall vibe, but certainly you could do this in whatever colors you would like. Remember, you don't have to be limited to what is even found in nature. You could have rainbow florals and it would look beautiful. If you're ever at a loss as to what colors to choose when you are using the Lovely Layers sets, absolutely get online and just Google for images of that floral or whatever it is that you're using, and you can find a lot of inspiration out there for different colors that you could use when you're putting together your florals at home. And again, you could use colored cardstock. You don't have to do ink blending like I'm doing, but you also could use colored cardstock in combination with ink blending or with alcohol markers. There's a lot of different ways that you can put these together. So I brought out my Sweet Stacks Rectangles dies, and I've chosen what size I want to cut this down to. I know that I'm going to want to have a little bit of a white border around the outside of my pink floral piece that we created. And so I'm just moving it around until I find that perfect spot, and then I can tape down the corners of the rectangle so that I can run it through my die cut machine. And that's going to give me a perfect rectangle. I love these. The Sweet Stacks have pretty much any size you could possibly need of rectangle. So now I've brought in 2 extra die cuts that I made of the large floral piece, and I did these out of vellum. And this is so that I can create the look of more florals without actually having any more florals. That'll make more sense once you see it all together. But now I'm taking those leaves that I colored with the Saltwater Taffy earlier, and I'm actually applying them to this piece. So now when this vellum piece is peeking out behind the other piece that has all of the colored flowers and everything on it, it's going to make it look like there's a whole nother piece potentially behind there. So you can see I'm just laying everything out kind of how I think I'm going to want it. And I'm doing it so that my 2 vellum pieces are offset to the left and to the right of the fully finished piece that we put together with all of that ink blending on there. Once I get it how I like it, I can just carefully remove the top piece using some reverse tweezers. So happy that reverse tweezers exist. They make my life so much easier when I'm putting together cards. And then I can just add some glue along the back here and there on the floral piece so I can glue it onto the vellum. You don't need a ton of glue here, but you do want to have enough on there that it is going to stick to the vellum. So I'm just kind of dotting around here and there around the back of my piece. Some of this is not going to land on the vellum, and that's okay. I do have to keep in mind though that I have to wipe down my surface once I'm done here because I don't want to then accidentally get glue on something else that isn't supposed to have glue. But once I have that down, I can adhere it to that first piece of vellum that's underneath there, and then I can lift up the 2 combined pieces, put the glue on the back of the vellum piece, and then glue that whole piece back down to the second vellum piece. I hope that makes much more sense as you're watching me do this, but you can see now I have this lovely shadow on each side, but it also has all of this extra dimension. Really pretty. For my white background edge, I'm actually bringing in this gorgeous cover plate, the Fall Flourish cover plate, and I'm cutting it out of white cardstock. And now I'm going to put together my sentiment, and for that I'm going to be using the Heartfelt Hello stamps and dies. These are really pretty. It has a nice variety of sentiments, which I like. And you're going to see I really like the dies that go with this set because they cut so closely to the sentiments, and even the little inset parts are cut out. Now I didn't use both sentiments, but I wanted to stamp more than one out just so I could see which one I liked better. And then the one that I didn't like as much for this particular card, I just stuck it in the back pocket of my storage pouch. So that way it's there and ready for next time if I need to grab a quick sentiment. I like to do that because it gives me variety when I'm putting together my card, especially while I already have everything out. I think it makes sense to stamp more than one sentiment so that you can pick which one you like better. I did die cut a couple of extras of the sentiments so that way I could layer those up with some liquid glue, so that way they have some dimension on the card, and now I can put the entire card together. I'm using some liquid adhesive here on the back of the piece that I cut out with the cover plate die, and then I'm going to glue it to an A2 sized card base, which is 4¼ inches by 5½ inches. And off camera I did put an acrylic block on there just to hold it down while the glue was drying. If you don't have a large enough acrylic block, you could also put it inside a book or even put your stamp platform over the top of it, just something that's going to hold it in place while the glue dries. Once that was dry, I added our gorgeous stenciled piece on the center there, just gluing that directly as well. And now I'm going to go ahead and put our fully put together beautiful little floral piece here, and you're going to watch me here in just a second I drop it. Thankfully it did not make a giant mess anywhere on the finished card piece. It mostly got onto the glass board, but I wanted to share that with you guys because most of the time we edit that kind of stuff out when we are making our card videos, but we drop our stuff just as often as you guys do. So I thought you guys might appreciate seeing my clumsiness. So I've got my sentiment here. I've added some glue to the back, and then I'm going to tuck it right kind of underneath the floral here, and it's going to be about 1/3 of the way up from the bottom. This is a really great place to put sentiments because our eyes tend to be drawn to the bottom third and top third line of a card. So keep that in mind when you're picking where to place things. And off camera, I went ahead and die cut another set of the leaves, and I've just left them white, but I am tucking them in here and there, gluing them around in different places on the card, just to give us a little bit more white on that floral so that it has some more differentiation from the rest of the card. Last but not least, I'm going to add some bling here with the gorgeous Homestead Harvest gem stickers. Love these, and the pink in here goes perfectly with the pink pattern paper. All right, guys, here is my finished card. I hope you picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit the notification bell, so that way you will know about future videos here on the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day.